Saturday, April 9th, 2022. I got a really good episode. Who is greater, Ted Williams or Joe DiMaggio? I went over their stats. I know Ted Williams played 19 years. DiMaggio only 13. Both of them served in the military. DiMaggio quit sooner. Must have been hurt. Let's presuppose Ted Williams and Joe DiMaggio played the same number of games, same number of bats. They played in the same era, roughly. Remember 1941? DiMaggio had a 56-game hitting streak. And that same year, Ted Williams bats .406. Let's go over the categories. Career average, runs, RBIs, home runs, triples, doubles, singles, total bases, slugging, on base, strikeouts, at-bats, games, stolen bases, walks, career hits, 100 RBI seasons, runs scored, most runs in a season, most RBIs in a season, and years played. Years played, Williams 19, DiMaggio 13, 1-0 Williams. Most RBIs in a season. Did you know that DiMaggio had 167 one year? The most for Williams was 159. 1-1's the score in categories. Runs scored. Did you know that DiMaggio had 151 runs scored in one season? That's his high. Williams, 150. 2-1 DiMaggio. 100 RBI seasons. How many? DiMaggio had 9. Williams had 9. Tie. Career hits. Well, we know that since Williams played 6 more years than DiMaggio, he's got more hits. But it's about 440 more hits. Williams. 2654 for Williams. 2214 for DiMaggio. Let's keep that in mind. So the score right now is 2-2 in categories. Walks. Williams, 2,021. 2,000 walks? DiMaggio only had 790. So 3-2 Williams. Stolen bases. But you know, DiMaggio only had 30 and Williams 24, even though Williams played 6 more years. So DiMaggio wins the stolen bases 3-3. Games played. DiMaggio 1,736. Williams 2,292. That's 550, roughly 555 more games. So Williams wins that 4-3. Keep that in mind. 555 more games. And 440 more hits. At bats, DiMaggio 6,821, Williams 7,706. So Williams had 1,100 more at bats. It's 5-3 Williams. Strikeouts, DiMaggio had 369. Obviously, he played less. Williams only 709 in 19 years. So DiMaggio gets that. 5-4. Categories. On base, DiMaggio 398. Williams 482. Williams wins that. 6-4. Slugging, DiMaggio 579. Williams 634. Did you know that Babe Ruth had a 690 career slugging? All right, it is 7-4 Williams. Total bases, DiMaggio 3948, Williams 4884. So that's about 1,100 more there. 8-4 Williams. Singles, DiMaggio 1333, Williams 1537. So it's 9-4 categories. Doubles, DiMaggio 389, Williams 525, 10-4. Triples, DiMaggio had more, 131. Williams 71, so 10-5. Home runs, DiMaggio 361, Williams 521, 11-5. RBIs, DiMaggio 1537, Williams 1839. 12-5 in categories. Runs scored, DiMaggio 1390, Williams 1798, so it's 13-5. And in career average, DiMaggio 325, Williams 344, top 5. 14-5, he wins in categories. But, big but, I told you that Williams played 555 more games than Joe DiMaggio. And he had 440 more hits. If DiMaggio has the same number of games as Williams, how many career hits would he get? How many hits is DiMaggio averaging? Well, let's presuppose. Let's look up DiMaggio's stats. Joe DiMaggio. How many hits did he average in a full season? Played 13 years. He had two 200-hit seasons. Listen to this, played 138 games and had 206 hits one year. 150-game season, he had 215 hits. So if he plays about 140, he's in about the 180s. Let's do the math. 550 more games. Okay? 555 times, let's say he averages 175 hits. $555 times 175. How many hits would he have had? 971. So he had 2214, 971, 581. He would have had 3,185 hits if he had the same, and Williams would have had 2264. So, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to rack up career hits and give it to DiMaggio. We're going to go each category, presupposing, okay? DiMaggio will win in hits because he would have had 3185 to Williams 2654. So DiMaggio hits. How about RBI? Well, DiMaggio had more RBIs scored, so we'll give him that one in a season. He had 167 was his high. Williams 159. That's two categories for DiMaggio. DiMaggio also had 151 runs scored in one season at his most. Williams had 150. So that's three categories already. They have the same number of years. Let's say 19 years. Walks. He had 790. Williams 2021. There's no way DiMaggio catches Williams in walks. So we'll give it to Williams in walks. Stolen bases, DiMaggio won it, right? He had 30, where Williams in 19 years only had 24. Four categories for DiMaggio already. Games played, it's wash, because they play the same. At bats, they have the same number of bats. Strikeouts. If DiMaggio plays another 555 games, how many strikeouts is he averaging a year? That's about 30. So it'd only be about 150 more strikeouts. So 150 plus he only had 369. 150 would have gave him 519 strikeouts for his career. And for the career, Williams had 709. Yeah, I'll say that fewer strikeouts for DiMaggio. That's five categories. On base. Williams will win that. 482. 482 for Williams on base. Slugging, Williams will win that. Slugging. So it's 5-3 I've got. Total bases. This is interesting. How many total bases is DiMaggio averaging? I'd say about 355. If he has another 550 games, 555, 555 times 350 bases would have gave him around 1,944 more. 3948, 1944, 12198. He would have had 5,892 bases. You know what? Same number of games, same number of bats. DiMaggio will beat Williams in total bases. Singles. How many singles is he averaging roughly? He's roughly averaging about 100 singles a year. 500 more would give him 1,800 to Williams 1,537. DiMaggio won in singles. Doubles. How many is he averaging? I'd say about 30, so 150 more. He would have had 540 doubles. Williams had 525. DiMaggio would have won in doubles. Triples. We know DiMaggio won that. Home runs. How many home runs is he averaging? Say 30 home runs. So he would have had another 150 home runs. He would have fallen short of Williams. Williams was a better home run hitter than DiMaggio. So we'll give that one to Williams. Home runs. RBIs. This is interesting. 555 more games for DiMaggio. And let's say he averages, well, in 13 years, he had 1,500 RBIs. That's over 100 RBIs a year, right? So 500 more RBIs would have gave him 1,800. No, gave him 2,000 RBIs. DiMaggio would have won in RBIs. Runs scored, again, he's averaging about 100 runs scored. So that's 500 more runs scored. Would have given him 1,900 to Williams 1,798. I told you in RBIs, DiMaggio would have had 2,000. Same number of games, same number of bats. Williams ended up with 1,839. So DiMaggio would have won in RBIs. And in runs scored, DiMaggio would have had about 1,900 and Williams only had 1,798. So in runs scored, DiMaggio would have won. But in career average, Williams would have won that, 344. Can't stop him. Isn't this amazing? Watch this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 to 5. DiMaggio would have beat Williams. Same number of bats, same number of games. Now, Williams would have been a better career average, and he would have had more home runs. But DiMaggio would have collected more hits over his career, over 3,000. He would have had more RBIs, more runs, more stolen bases, fewer strikeouts, more total bases, more singles, doubles, triples. Who's better? Who's greater? Joe DiMaggio or Ted Williams? We know Joe DiMaggio had a 56-game hitting streak. Did you know that in the year that he had a 56-game hitting streak, he finished the season batting .357? Pretty good. But you know that Ted Williams, he had a 23-game hitting streak. I believe that was his high. But in 1941, he batted .401. So as far as career average, Williams is better. But as far as career hits, DiMaggio is better. Who do you take? DiMaggio's high in average was .381. 120 games, 1939, he batted .381, DiMaggio. What was Ted Williams? We know in 1941, He batted 406 by in 143 games. Look at this, 606 at bats, and he bats 406. We also know that Williams in 1957, 132 games, batted 388. How about that? So Williams, 388 and 406. He also had a 369 and a 356. Williams is a better career average hitter and more walks. He had 2,000 walks, which is incredible. And he had better on base and better slugging. DiMaggio, more career hits, same at bats, same number of games. More RBIs, more runs scored, stolen bases, fewer strikeouts, total bases, singles, doubles, triples. He had more RBIs in one season. His high was better than Williams. And he had more runs scored in the season, and his high was better than Williams. Because in RBIs, DiMaggio had 167 one year. The high for Williams was 159. Yeah, 159. And then in runs scored, the high for DiMaggio was 151. And the highest for Williams was 150. Close. Ask me the question. Who do you take? Joe DiMaggio or Ted Williams? I don't know. In matchups, I just did a matchup. Williams won 14-5, straight up and down. But we got to consider that DiMaggio had played 13 years and Williams 19. So I'm doing a what-if scenario. Same number of games played, same number at bats. Who wins the matchup? DiMaggio 11-5. I'm having a hard time, though, picking who do I want. Do I want the Williams, who has a better career average, better on base, better slugging, more home runs, and more walks? Or do I want DiMaggio, who strikes out fewer, has more total bases, more career hits, more RBIs, more runs scored, more stolen bases, more singles, doubles, and triples? Tell you what, I'll flip a coin because I'd take both of them. I've got a quarter here. You see this quarter? I'm going to flip it. Heads for DiMaggio. Tails for Williams is who I would take. Deep down, I'm leaning toward DiMaggio, but you can't exclude Ted Williams' career batting average, on base slugging, and home runs. But again, you can't exclude DiMaggio because of his career hits he would have had, RBIs, runs scored, total bases, fewer strikeouts. You can't take both. You can only take one. It's just like you've got the question, you're going to take Babe Ruth or Ty Cobb. Well, I would take Ty Cobb. The same thing. Would you take Henry Aaron or Willie Mays? Well, I'd take Henry Aaron. Because in both of those matchups, Aaron edged out Mays in same games at bats. And in Ruth and Cobb, Ruth edged them out if you had the same number of games and at bats as far as categories. You look at those episodes. If you want to know which episodes those are, I can tell you the number. Just for the baseball, who is greater? Episode 449 would be Henry Aaron versus Willie Mays, if you want to know the matchups. And then episode 444 is Babe Ruth versus Ty Cobb, if you want to know the matchups. This episode 454, is my hardest episode I've ever done. I was going to flip a coin. Heads for DiMaggio, tails for Williams, as far as who I pick. I'm kind of nervous flipping this, but I can't go wrong, right? I mean, if you take one or the other, Williams or DiMaggio. All right, here goes. When you flip it, do you start with the head showing first or the tail showing first? You flip it and it goes up and down. And how many times does it flip? I guess it'll flip maybe 15 to 20 times, right? If you really give it a good flip. All right, here we go. Here's the coin. If it lands on heads, I have to take Joe DiMaggio on my team. If it lands on tails, I take Ted Williams. Here goes. Got a flashlight. It landed on the ground and it landed in the dark. How about that? It landed on Ted Williams, tails. Ted, you're on my team. Jumping Joe DiMaggio, we want you on our side. But as far as flipping the coin, it landed on tails, Ted Williams. And I don't mind. Career batting average at 344. 521 home runs. 2,000 walks. They were afraid to pitch to him. Better slugger and on base. I'm happy with that. All right, that was a lot of fun. Who's greater, Joe DiMaggio or Ted Williams? Thanks for watching. I'm out.